For you on Daybreak, we're addressing some popular questions about the coronavirus and the flu. And Moderna is hoping to be the next company with an FDA-approved COVID-19 vaccine in the U.S. The new study is starting that it hopes will give its vaccine an edge. We'll tell you about it. Also, Missouri joins Texas in suing over election results. It is unlikely to change anything. We'll tell you why. It's all ahead coming up this morning for you on Daybreak. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here. It is a Friday. It is December 11th. I'm Joe Morano. Jennifer has the morning off, but we are here to get you set for the upcoming weekend where you might just need to hang out inside for the weekend. I'll tell you this. TJ Springer here with us for the forecast first. TJ, yesterday was the day where I felt like I wanted to take down the Christmas decorations and see if the pool was open. It was that warm out there.
I would have loved if the pool was open yesterday, Joe, just for like a brief moment to get in, enjoy the warmth. It was perfect.
It was fantastic, and I know it's going to get colder, but I do want to know, did we manage to set more records in the Ozarks yesterday?
We were, yeah, a few spots, including Springfield. We hit that high of 72, so that broke a record that was set back in the mid-90s, and we'll have a breakdown at that coming up here in just a little bit. For now, we're focusing on that unsettled change that we have been talking about through the week. We do have the clouds in Springfield, and we will see rain moving our way. Temperatures are mild, though, 50s to even 60s in Joplin right now. We do have some readings in the 40s, like West Plains and Fort Wood, where the clouds have been a little bit thinner. 52 in Harrison, 59 currently in Fayetteville. The winds are coming in from the south, the southeast, mainly from the south, around 5 to 15 or so, which has kept our temperatures milder through the overnight, as well as that cloud cover. And there's that rain. Satellite radar showing some of these bands working in from the west, and we'll see more widespread rain through our Friday, really our Friday afternoon. We're going to have a lot more widespread moisture, I think, across the Color 10 viewing area. We're back into the 50s, really not warming up a lot today, really staying pretty steady compared to where we are right now, and the showers continue into our Saturday, but we are tracking a cool down and, yes, the possibility of some wintry weather, and we'll have a breakdown on that too, Joe, coming up in just a little while.
Thank you, TJ. We need to bring you some coronavirus news this morning. The Taney County Health Department has confirmed 8 more COVID-related deaths. 2 were men in their 70s and 80s. 1 was a man in his 50s, and 4 women in their 80s. Also, a woman in her late teens died from the disease, all in Taney County. Today, we wanted to address some of the most popular questions about the coronavirus that have come to us on our Facebook page and other social media about whether or not this is similar to the flu. The CDC reported 10 to 20,000 deaths from the flu in the 2018 to 19 season. This pandemic has killed almost 300,000 in the past 10 months since the first week of February. Globally, between 290,000 to 650,000 people die from the flu each year. Now, as of now, there have been over 1.5 million deaths from the coronavirus worldwide. Mercy critical care physician Dr. Karthik Vadamale says even if you survive COVID, you can still have permanent organ damage from this disease. And common organs hurt with this are the heart, lungs, and brain. He understands sometimes patients may not be able to come to terms that they have caught the coronavirus to begin with, though.
You would say, okay, I think I can never have COVID. I don't have COVID. You're trying to say this because you just wanted to say I have. I think it's hard for them to accept. And unfortunately, one of those patients ended up passing away in a few days. Towards the end, they actually believed the virus, that it's real, and they felt horrible on day 1 when they first denied.
Moderna says now it is testing the vaccine's effects on people between the ages of 12 and 17. And the first adolescent patient got its first dose yesterday. The company hopes to show that its vaccine will be effective in children and build support to get kids vaccinated before next school year starts. Next Thursday, a panel of FDA advisors will meet to discuss if it can be given to people as young as 16. In Canada, officials are planning to start vaccinations on healthcare workers and nursing home staff. In the UK, thousands of frontline workers and people over 80 have been immunized since Tuesday. Meanwhile, new infections are continuing to grow in parts of Europe. In fact, Germany has been in a partial lockdown for 6 weeks now. We move on to some political coverage for you this morning. All 50 states have certified their November general election results, but Missouri has also joined in the questioning of the validity of some battleground states' results. The Texas lawsuit says the way Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania ran their elections is unconstitutional. In addition to Missouri, 16 other states and President Trump have joined this lawsuit. The justices will soon decide if they will hear the case, but our political analyst, Dr. Brian Calfano, says this likely won't go anywhere.
Where this Supreme Court challenge, led by Texas, and of course Missouri has signed on to this as well, will fall short is that Texas just doesn't have the standing. It has no place legally. And yes, it is a constitutional point that the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania changed the procedure, not the legislature, but it is in no way the right of Texas to come in and try to argue this on behalf of Texans and Missourians and everything else. That's why this thing's going to fail.
Now, the country's electoral college members are actually scheduled to cast votes for president and vice president on Monday afternoon. Here's what's new for you this morning. A Springfield nonprofit is working to make the holidays better for families in need. Color 10's Nigel McDonald is in studio this morning to explain how exactly this is going to happen. Nigel, good morning.
Good morning. Christmas Trees for Hope does just that by gifting families with a Christmas tree, decorations, and even a tree skirt. Christmas Trees for Hope started in December of 2013.
I thought to myself, I'd like to get a new tree. I've had this one for a long time, but this one's still a really good one. Somebody could still use this tree.
Durham says she went on a hunt to find a way to donate the tree, but came up short.
So I thought, well, let me just create something. And within a few weeks, I already had gathered and given back out about 8 or 9 trees.
The next few years, donations remained around that total. But with community support, more than 60 families received Christmas trees this year.
It's just kind of exploded, which I kind of thought might happen with this whole COVID situation. This was my first year I actually had a staging spot. So I knew I was going to have all these trees come in. So I invited families. I had a list, and I just went down the list and I said, if you can be here at this time, I can get you a tree.
Durham says she only asked that families send her a picture of the tree once it's decorated.
Within hours, I was already getting pictures back. So they literally took the tree, went home, put the tree up. My mom always made sure we had a Christmas tree, so I just wanted to share.
Well, the group is already prepping for next year, and they need your help. This Saturday, 1984 is hosting a fundraiser from 1:30 to 3:30 in the afternoon, and half of all door admissions will go to support the nonprofit.
Very good to see. If you'd like to help out, thank you, Nija. Still ahead for you on Daybreak, what business Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, and Willie Nelson are all getting into. We'll have those details in your Money Watch. Stay with us.
From Color 10 Ozarks First, Jennifer Abreu, Joe Morano, and weather with meteorologist TJ Springer. This is Color 10 News Daybreak. And now weather with meteorologist TJ Springer, certified by WeatherRate for the most accurate forecast in the Ozarks.
I hope you were able to get outside yesterday, take advantage of all of that warmth. It felt a lot more like spring than winter, meteorological winter, and December, that is for sure. We broke some records. We were talking about that just a few minutes ago in Springfield. We did predict 72, and we got to that, breaking that old record that was set back in the mid-90s. Rolla also into the lower 70s. The previous record there also set in the mid-90s of 70 degrees. West Plains, that record was a little bit later, back in 2015 of 71, and we hit 73 yesterday. So it was a great day to be out and about. We actually played some golf yesterday, and hopefully you were able to enjoy some of that outdoors time. Now the changes we've been talking about all week. We have a system working in from the west, snow across parts of Nebraska, Iowa. We're on the warmer side of this. We're going to see rain today and the possibility of some thunder, some storms, isolated storms, and some of the heaviest bands of rain. In Branson, we're starting off with that cloud cover. Temperatures well above average here compared to what we should be feeling for this time of the year. In Springfield, we're no different. Taking a peek outside your door over Park Central Square southwestward, we have 53 degrees with that south to southeasterly wind at just over 10. That stronger breeze also helping keep our temperatures elevated through the overnight. A closer look at home. There's that rain starting to work in from the west along I-49 and I-44. And we'll see more of this working eastward through the day. More widespread rain, I'm thinking, as Gulf moisture streams up from the south as we progress through the rest of our Friday. With the winds, they're not terribly strong. They will become a little bit stronger as this storm system continues to work through the Ozarks. And that wind speed from the south will eventually change back around from the northwest into early tomorrow, which will start to usher in that colder feel. You can see that warm air nosing northward. Look at that near 60 in Fayetteville. Joplin, we're in the lower 60s compared to 42 in Emporia, Kansas, where the clouds have been thinner or really lacking. We've seen temperatures drop into the 40s, even 30s, heading eastward toward Poplar Bluff. So it is cool for some of us, milder for others. We're really going to struggle to get out of the lower 50s today. I think we'll get to 54 later on this afternoon with the showers around. Don't forget that umbrella if you do have plans to head out and about later on today. Going to impact all of the commutes, that is for sure. All the way through our Friday. We'll give it the yellow light, wet through and through. Not going to be the nicest day to be out and about, but nonetheless, if we have to go out, we're going to do it. Futurecast shows all this moisture through our Friday. This is our 3 o'clock snapshot. Rain lingers through the overnight. Then we clear out. I think we'll have some patchy drizzle, maybe a few flurries tomorrow as temperatures are going to be colder, especially higher up in the atmosphere. And then we briefly clear. I don't think we'll see sunshine. I think we'll be cloudy through the day. Even the Futurecast is trying to paint that. We got a little bit of sunshine out to the west, but by late Saturday into Sunday, our next storm system is moving in. And look at this one. This one dives southward, so colder air will be on our side if you want that cold. And it moves in with the moisture, bringing a round of snow. I think most of this precipitation actually going to fall in the form of snow versus the mix because temperatures are going to be colder higher up in the sky. And then we see this exit into the latter half of our Sunday. So we're looking at a round of wintry weather, the possibility of some minor accumulations definitely on the grass and the elevated surfaces. Today, though, we're going to be milder, middle 50s. But still a lot cooler than our day yesterday. And our certified most accurate 70 forecast, the cool down really arrives heading into our Sunday with snow becoming likely, waking up to a bitter start on our Monday with more sunshine there. Another disturbance could bring a few snow showers by the afternoon. I think Tuesday with a morning snow shower around Wednesday. We're back into the lower 40s, still chilly on Thursday.
Wall Street was mixed on Thursday. The Dow fell 69 points, the Nasdaq gained 66, and the S&P 500 lost 4. Airbnb's initial public offering was a success. Shares of the home rental company more than doubled in its first day of trading, ending at $144. Airbnb raised $3.7 billion in the offering, the largest IPO this year. The Senate's top Republican says he won't support a $908 billion coronavirus relief bill, effectively killing the bipartisan effort for now. Senator Mitch McConnell called funding in the bill for state and local governments, quote, controversial state bailouts, and said some of his Republican colleagues won't support it. McConnell also wants liability protection for businesses facing potential COVID lawsuits, something Democrats object to. Jay-Z is joining Snoop Dogg and Willie Nelson in the cannabis business. The Brooklyn rapper debuted his brand yesterday called Monogram. There are 4 different strains of cannabis that come packaged in pre-rolled cigars, joints, and cans of flour. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Diane King Hall.
We've got to talk sports next. The Missouri State Lady Bears are willing to roll with the changes that come this year, and one rescheduling has already happened. We'll fill you in after this break.
And now, sports on Color 10 News.
Missouri State Lady Bears coach Amaka Agugwa Hamilton says her 21st ranked team must be willing to roll with changes, and that happened yesterday when the Lady Bears game with Mizzou was changed. In our Bear Nation report, it's being moved from Sunday afternoon to Monday night, and one factor in the move could be the Mizzou women's team. Coach Robin Pinchton's Tigers have been in a 2-week COVID quarantine, and the extra day may allow all of her players to be at full strength. Coach Mox is just happy to play an in-state rival in this unprecedented season.
Oh, they're going to be ready. They're going to be ready. You know, that's what this team lives for. We love the challenges. You know, any game in state, no matter who we play, it just brings another level of competitiveness out of us. And in-state rivalries, obviously, we're about to go play one. We're going to be ready for that. You know, it's not going to be an easy game at all. And Mizzou's a better team than they were last year. So we got to clean up some things that I think we were a little bit exposed, even in this game, but also in the Wake Forest game.
Girls high school basketball last night, Nixa going to Clever, and this one was all Nixa. The Lady Eagles out to a big lead thanks to pressure defense. Nora Clark steals the ball, gives it up, then gets it back for the layup, and it was a 9-0 start to the game. Then Nixa using its height advantage. Macy Conway drives, her shot is short, but JC Bray is there for the board and the basket. It was 19-2, and then later the skip pass to Rihanna Gibbons, and she sinks the three from the wing. It was 22-7. Clever, we get things going later. The Jays working it inside to Ruthie Brown on the block. She spins to the hole and gets the basket, but Nixa was just too much, beating Clever 80-36. The Kansas City Chiefs will hit the road Sunday looking for their 8th straight win against the Miami Dolphins. You can see that game right here on Color 10 starting at noon. The Chiefs are 11-1 and they've locked up a playoff spot. The Dolphins are 8-4 and they're fighting to hold on to a playoff ticket. Miami has switched quarterbacks to Tua Tagovailoa and have been winning ever since. The Chiefs will be making their first trip back to Hard Rock Stadium since winning the Super Bowl back in February. Big Red says it'll be a different feeling.
I was locked down in a hotel when I was there and trying to get ready for the game. And I was pretty, I mean, the game and all was great, but two different scenarios. We've got in-season game. There's not all the glitz and glamour that there is for a Super Bowl. So, and we're playing a good football team that we got to do the same thing we did before. You got to focus in on them and make sure that you've covered all the bases. I mean, they're too good not to.
I'm Dan Lucy with your morning sports.
We felt some record-breaking warmth across the Ozarks yesterday. I hope you were able to get out and enjoy that sunshine because we are not going to have any of it today as our next storm system moves in. Yesterday, 72 degrees was hit in Springfield. That smashes the old record of 71 set back in the mid-90s. Rolla, West Plains both in the lower 70s with those records. And Rolla in the middle 90s, just like here in Springfield, but that one in West Plains a little bit later on here back in the 2015. Now, as we progress through the rest of our day, we're going to see these changes. Throughout the overnight, we have seen the clouds thicken on up and temperatures have been in the lower 50s. But notice back at 3 o'clock, that's where we hit that 72-degree mark. We're going to be a far cry from that later on this afternoon. The clouds are thickening up here in Springfield. That is a live look from our tower cam, glancing off to the north and east. Temperatures are in the 50s to near 60 in Fayetteville, 60 though in Joplin. That warm air definitely nosing on up into the Color 10 viewing area, but to the west, colder air already filtering in Emporia. It's 42. That's out of our neck of the woods, really, out toward Kansas. 53 in Rolla, 54 currently in Camdenton. The winds, which have been a little bit breezier through the overnight, they're still not strong at all, but they have been able to stay a little bit stronger, and that has helped keep our temperatures a little bit warmer through the overnight. There's all the rain coming in from the west, seeing some of that along the Kansas-Missouri state line as well as the Oklahoma-Missouri state line along the I-49 corridor. All that going to continue to work eastward throughout the rest of our day. And then the colder air begins to filter in. On the northwest side of this low, expecting a nice amount of snow in parts of Nebraska, western Iowa, like in Omaha. We're going to continue to see this cold air take over with our next storm system gearing up as we head into the latter half of our weekend. Today we're going to struggle with our temperatures really going to only get into the middle 50s, but we are tracking some changes. Make sure you have on those wipers through the day. You're going to need them. We'll talk more about those wintry changes, Joe, in just a little bit.
Yeah, certainly will be worth keeping an eye on. Thank you, TJ. Up next for you, we've got to talk more about the wait for a vaccine as the country is facing a record daily death toll now, and when you can expect to gain access to a dose is up next. Welcome back, everyone. 5:25 this morning. A coronavirus vaccine is now one step closer to coming here after a panel of independent scientists concluded that the one from Pfizer-BioNTech is safe and effective. It comes, though, as the country is facing a record number of daily deaths, as CBS's Bofta Imam describes for us today.
An independent review of the data.
A government advisory panel voted to recommend widespread use of the coronavirus vaccine from Pfizer and BioNTech yesterday.
So we do have a favorable vote.
The Food and Drug Administration is now expected to follow suit.
We could see FDA authorization of the first vaccine in the United States within days.
Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar says doses will start shipping within 24 hours of the FDA's emergency use authorization.
I'm on call for when it gets delivered.
Some hospitals have already been sent vaccine kits containing syringes, masks, and a diluting agent.
The logistics here are going to be complex, but we're really excited about it.
The vaccine is coming at a time when the U.S. is seeing a record number of daily deaths. More than 3,100 Americans died on Wednesday.
COVID-19 was the #1 cause of death in Idaho in November.
The first doses will go to healthcare workers and nursing home residents, with most of the general public not expected to get the shots until the spring.
The whole country's on fire. This crisis that we have right now, the vaccine is not going to save us.
Health workers are concerned the holiday season is just making matters worse.
It's very frustrating for us because we're trying to save people and take care of you.
Next week, the vaccine from Moderna is scheduled to go through the same approval process as the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. Bofta Imam, CBS News, Washington.
Additionally, vaccines from Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, and Oxford University are also being worked on and will be seeking approval in the coming weeks. It is the bottom of the hour for you. Still ahead, why 3 kids that were missing could be facing criminal charges. We've got that story when we return. Welcome back into Daybreak, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Friday, December 11th. I'm Joe Morano. Jennifer Abreu has the morning off, but we are here to get you ready for that weekend. Meteorologist TJ Springer is with us as well. And TJ, I hope everyone enjoyed those last few days because we're going to get hit with that December feeling coming up pretty soon, right?
We are, yeah. I feel like yesterday was more like a late March, early April kind of day.
Yeah.
Wanted to get in the pool we talked about.
It was so nice. And I took a nice run outside, then I walked, and then I Went inside to make some dinner, and I thought I should go back outside. It's still so nice.
I walked Gizmo just before, or just after the sun went down, actually, and it had to be still in the 60s. It felt wonderful. I'm like, oh, this is just great. I love this. Yeah, we're going to have some big changes, Joe, as we head through the rest of our Friday, really into the weekend. Around 5 o'clock, that's when I was outside, and we were in the mid-60s. And temperatures have dipped into the 50s, but the clouds have thickened up over the last 12 hours, really the last few hours, and that's going to be the case as our next storm system moves in. Warm air nosing northward ahead of this next storm system, where the clouds have been lacking, temperatures are cooler, where they've been a little bit thicker. We're warmer, like 53 in Monette and Springfield, 54 in Camdenton. The wind's also a little more elevated, which has helped our temperatures stay milder through the nighttime hours. 12 in Springfield, 6 in Camdenton, 8 in Fort Wood, and 15 a little breezier there in Fayetteville. These are not strong, but they will increase a little bit as this front moves in and the storm system moves through the Ozarks. Seeing rain marching closer to us, and we're going to continue to see more widespread rains through the day. So not going to be the best day to be out and about. Wet commutes likely both for the morning and the ride on home. In our wagging forecast, we're introducing Luna. This is actually our lovely producer Christina's puppy. How cute is she? If you are heading out and walking your furry friends, expect the rain. Have them with the rain gear and yourself with the umbrella for sure. Now look what happens this weekend. Maybe some drizzle, some early showers tomorrow. But you're seeing that right. Snow likely, at least looking that way, on Sunday. We'll talk more about that, have an hour-by-hour look, Joe, coming up in just a bit.
All right, we need to start this half hour with some news around the region. Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson addressed the state last night, updating Arkansans on daily COVID numbers there. Crystal Martinez tells us what one doctor recommends you do after hearing what the governor had to say.
Almost 20 years ago, I was part of our nation's response to the terrorist attack on September 11. We all remember the horror and heartache of that day when we lost over 3,000 Americans.
Governor Asa Hutchinson opening his address to the state, sharing how the country is battling a fight we've seen before.
Today, our nation faces another deadly crisis.
A message Fayetteville Public Health Officer Dr. Marty Sharkey says should hit home as we've lost 3,000 people a day over the last week to the virus.
What we have to remember is we're facing a 9/11 each and every day.
During his address, Governor Hutchinson talked about the surge of COVID-19 cases as a result of Thanksgiving, but stating adding more restrictions to businesses or even shutting down schools won't happen anytime soon if we wear a mask and follow health guidelines.
Those are the steps that will make a difference versus putting additional restrictions on businesses that are already complying with all the health guidance.
And we are seeing people really struggling financially and then subsequently mentally. So we need to support our neighbors in every way we can.
As we wait for a vaccine to be approved, Governor Hutchinson says it'll take more than 70% of the population to accept the vaccine for it to be most effective.
I have confidence in the vaccine. In fact, Susan and I will be taking the vaccine when it is our turn.
The risk of the vaccine is far less than the risk of getting the virus, and I look forward to the day that I can get that shot in the arm.
Until then, Governor Hutchinson and Dr. Sharkey say how we decide to spend the upcoming holidays will play a major factor in hospital capacity and how soon we could be returning to life pre-pandemic.
Crystal Martinez reporting this morning, and this ongoing issue has forced a lot of change within certain workplaces. It's no different for the Springfield Police Department down in Arkansas. Lieutenant Jeff Taylor says they've switched from working 8-hour shifts to 12. This is to keep from having too many people working at one time, but they've also changed how officers respond to calls. Reports can be filed over the phone unless someone is requested to be at a scene. He says it's these policies that have kept cases under control within the department.
We've had about 12 total employees, as counting our front office personnel, our dispatchers, our jailers, our officers. And when you think about the number of calls that we respond to on a daily basis and on a weekly basis ever since this pandemic started, that's a relatively very small number.
Lieutenant Taylor says if officers come in contact with someone that could have COVID-19, they have the ability to decontaminate cars so officers don't expose that virus to their families. What started as a search for 3 missing kids in Russellville, Arkansas, ended with tens of thousands of dollars worth of damage and potential criminal charges. The video you're about to see right here was taken Monday morning by Burris vending owner Roy McSpadden. Police say this was the work of 3 kids, ages 11, 10, and 7. Several agencies were on the lookout for these children because they were found to be locked in this warehouse as they had been missing for more than 6 hours.
It was hard to fathom that 3 kids could do that. Couldn't have been just in here just a little while. It took hours for them to do what they did.
Now, what they did was unacceptable. I don't take that from them at all.
McSpadden says anything that was tainted or potentially damaged has been thrown away, but he's looking at more than $25,000 worth of damage done. Black bear hunting in Missouri could move closer to reality today, but records obtained by the Humane Society of the United States show there is still some strong opposition to this measure. The Missouri Department of Conservation Commission votes today on what it calls a limited and highly regulated black bear hunting season. Humane Society officials say more than 2,000 people who submitted comments to the department opposed this action, and less than 100 people favored what the Humane Society considers a trophy hunting season for black bears. We'll have to keep you updated today online and on air of how that vote goes. Just in time for the holidays, we have a story for you that is positively Ozarks this morning. You may remember 4-year-old Jackson Rippey. We told you about him last month. He has autism, but loves to go inside Lowe's home improvement stores so much he was made an honorary employee. Unfortunately, his entire family tested positive for the coronavirus this week. His mom and dad were considering canceling their Christmas this year. However, Lowe's heard about what happened and decided to help. So staff came over, decorated their yard with displays, and gave little Jackson a tree and a present.
I was crying uncontrollably. It just feels like a Christmas miracle. So I'm so incredibly grateful. Stuff like this just doesn't really happen a lot.
It's nice to know that people out there like you all still do care, still do want to make sure that people are taken care of and people aren't going without.
Jackson's parents say he was upset he couldn't come outside to thank the staff himself, but he is excited to open up his gift in just a few weeks because, TJ, we got to let you know, Christmas is actually 2 weeks away.
I cannot believe that, Joe. I told you this yesterday. I need to get my official countdown here in the show. I'll have to do that in just a little bit here. We are talking.
You do. Bentonville is getting into the spirit of holiday giving and tree decorating, too. 30 trees have been decorated and are ready to be auctioned off to raise money for Alzheimer's research at Village on the Park Bentonville Senior Living Community. That's also important. The Village's director of sales and marketing tells us she loves seeing Bentonville come together for a great cause.
It's a cause that's very near and dear to our hearts here, and it's just important, that the community supports the research for that because, there's one person that will be the cure.
The online auction goes until 2 o'clock today. You can check out what's to offer on the Village on the Park Facebook page. Again, that'll end at 2 o'clock today.
It is festive. We're talking about that countdown. Christmas is getting closer, and also some colder air and some more wintry weather. Some big changes on the horizon for the weekend. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a few minutes.
And now weather with meteorologist TJ Springer, certified by Weather8 for the most accurate forecast in the Ozarks.
It was such a warm day yesterday, especially for this time of December. It felt more like spring than early December. And if you were able to get out and enjoy, you noted how warm it was, breaking some records here across the Color 10 viewing area. Like in Springfield, we hit 72 degrees. That smashed the old record of 71 set back in the mid-90s. Rolla, another one. The record was in 1996. We reached 71 degrees there. In West Plains, a little bit later on, 2015, we hit 71. And yesterday, we climbed into the lower 70s. Really nice for this time of the year. But now we're tracking these changes. We've been talking about them all through the week, and now they're knocking on our doorstep. Rain moving in. Look at this snow in parts of Nebraska, Iowa. Going to be a pretty good little snowstorm out there on the colder side of this low. And then our next storm system already gearing up to the west. That's the one that could bring us a round of wintry weather here. So all of this moving our way, high pressure exiting, and that has opened the gateways to this storm system. In Branson, we're starting off with some clouds, mild, a live look over 76 Country Boulevard. Eastward in Springfield, we're also in the lower 50s here with temperatures that are well above normal. We should be having highs that are a lot cooler than this for this time of the year. That is the view south and westward here from our Holland camera there in Park Central Square. Satellite and radar showing these showers working from west to east, and that's going to be the case throughout the remainder of our Friday with more widespread rain, especially by the midday through the afternoon. Could have some claps of thunder too, with a little more instability streaming up here from the south in the Ozarks. The winds, they're not strong. They'll become a little breezier through the day, but the winds have been elevated through the overnight. That's why our temperatures have been so warm, and that cloud cover, where it's been a little bit thinner or we haven't had it around as long, temperatures have dipped into the 40s, like in West Plains, compared to the 50s in Monette. We are at 52 in Branson, Harrison, currently 54 in Clinton, 60s though in Joplin, Mo at the moment. Remember to have your umbrella today. In our wagon walking forecast, it's not going to be the nicest day to be out and about with these showers, periods of rain really throughout the entirety of our Friday. I wanted to showcase Luna today. This is our producer Christina's puppy, and we've spent some time with her. She is just the sweetest little dog. Get out there and get a walk if you have to, but it's going to be kind of gloomy. Wet through the morning commute, wet through the evening commute. That's going to be the case throughout our Friday. Futurecast shows that lots of rain through our 3 o'clock snapshot. Temperatures in the 50s. Tonight, we're back into the upper 30s and lower 40s. Colder, drizzly tomorrow. Could have maybe a couple of wet snowflakes trying to mix in with the atmospheric column. Definitely cooling. But then on Sunday, that's when our next system begins to move in. Clouds thicken up quickly. This storm continues to move out of here. There's our next storm system. That one developing, dives toward us. Cold air is going to be around as this one moves away, and that's going to help fuel the potential for some wintry weather. And yes, snow. By Sunday morning, the clouds are thick. By mid-morning, we're seeing that snow beginning to develop. I think we may have more snow versus that mix because of how cold the atmosphere is going to be. Maybe some rain in northern Arkansas. This continues to work eastward through our Sunday, tapering to maybe some light rain and some possibly if temperatures are still a touch above freezing. But I'm thinking we're going to focus on more of the snow versus that rain or wintry mix just because of how cold things will be. The possibility maybe an inch or two on the grassy surfaces, the elevated surfaces too, something we'll be keeping tabs on in the weather lab. So stay tuned. Now our certified most accurate 7-day forecast shows a slight warm up. That's a little more seasonable Monday with more sunshine. Another disturbance brings the shot at some snow showers late Tuesday into Wednesday. More sunshine again, Joe, there on Thursday.
Still to come for you, a new Netflix hit is influencing others to play a board game that's been around over 1,000 years. You can probably guess which one it is. And how a robot that can kill COVID-19 is now in play. We'll explain after the break. All right, well, chess isn't exactly a new game, but it's suddenly one of the hottest games this holiday season. Who would have thought that would happen? The newfound popularity is stemming from the new Netflix show, The Queen's Gambit. Still haven't checked it out. I know I have to, though. Catherine Hessel spoke with a chess grandmaster, though, and with the Chess Hall of Fame about this show's impact.
After the Netflix show The Queen's Gambit premiered in October, the sale of chess sets in the United States spiked 87%, and the sale of books about the game rose 603%. According to market research firm NPD Group, Susan Plogar became a chess world champion at the age of 15, is a grandmaster, is in the U.S. Chess Hall of Fame, and is the current head coach of the #1 ranked Division I chess team at Webster University. Susan says in some ways, the show very much parallels her own life.
It's a young girl fighting in a man's world, although I have to say her life story on the screen of the fictional character seemed like a picnic in the park compared to what I had to go through in real life. Things weren't quite as simple.
Directors of The Queen's Gambit consulted with grandmasters to make sure that the show was realistic and correct. Susan says they got it right.
I think the consultant did a fantastic job on the technicalities, and the few places where it was a little bit speed up or exaggerated is definitely understandable.
Susan says she's thrilled to see everyone going crazy for chess right now. And St. Louis is lucky enough to have the World Chess Hall of Fame in the Central West End. Brian Flowers, the marketing director for the World Chess Hall of Fame, says foot traffic in the Hall of Fame has increased. People are walking in talking about having just watched The Queen's Gambit and feeling inspired. Q Boutique, the gift shop in the Hall of Fame, is selling more chess sets than ever before. This year, the sales from Black Friday and Cyber Monday doubled sales from last year. And the past weekend, they had their top sales weekend in history. Susan says there is something that everyone can take away from chess, even if you don't understand the game.
You always need to look at things from the other side's perspective as well, not just your own.
Catherine Hessel reporting there. Now, you may have seen something like this recently. It is the Light Strike. It's a robot that sends out flashes of extremely powerful ultraviolet light that's aimed at killing the coronavirus. It targets the DNA of pathogens so they can't reproduce. Studies have shown this kind of light has actually been tremendously successful.
It's a little harder to say on COVID right now here for our hospital, but we really feel that it's making a huge difference. We know in C. diff, it brought our C. diff rates way down.
However, these robots are not cheap. Each costs around $125,000. Still, it's being used at several medical institutions right now around the country.
Pretty interesting, but no, not cheap whatsoever. We are tracking some big changes here across the Color 10 viewing area as our next storm system marches closer to us. I hope you were able to get out and enjoy temperatures that were in the 70s yesterday, breaking some records here across the region. Clouds have been thickening up through the last few hours as this low and cold front are inching in, and we're going to see that rain overspreading the metro here within the next couple of hours, likely. In Springfield, we have the clouds. Rain is just to our west here. You can see that inching in out of Oklahoma and Kansas, right along the Missouri-Kansas and Missouri-Oklahoma state lines. All of this going to continue to overspread the area, and we're likely going to have more rainfall this afternoon and into the evening, so have the umbrella ready to go. Not going to be the nicest Friday, but we've been so fortunate. We've enjoyed so much warmth here and lots of sunshine over the last few days. Wind speeds coming in from the south around 5 to 15, not strong, but enough to keep our temperatures elevated through the overnight. And you can see some spots are even in the 60s as that warm air is nosing into the Ozarks. We have areas that are in the 40s, though, because of the lack of cloud cover through the overnight. 41 in West Plains compared to 52 in Branton and Harrison, Arkansas, near 60 in Fayetteville. We are in the lower 60s at Joplin. It is 50 degrees on the dot there in Lake Ozark. Not going to be the greatest morning commute or evening commute with all this rain around. We're going to be watching it tracking in from the west. Periods of rain through the evening, too. We'll give it the yellow light, and the rain lingers through the overnight as well. Taking an hour-by-hour look, don't forget the umbrella, as I mentioned. Temperatures struggling to get into the middle 50s later on this afternoon, with possibility, yes, of maybe some snowflakes trying to mix in tomorrow, but another system moves in, bringing snow on Sunday. We'll have an hour-by-hour look at that and what we can expect there coming up in just a bit. Joe?
Riverdale is back for a new season, and Michelle Pfeiffer is a widowed socialite running out of money in the movie French Exit. Chris Martinez explains in your Eye on Entertainment.
Archie, Veronica, Betty, and the gang return in the first trailer for season 5 of Riverdale.
This will be the last dance we have with our friends. Can't miss it.
Based on the characters from Archie Comics, the show will take a 7-year time jump into the future this season with a group of friends, now adults. Riverdale Season 5 returns to the CW January 20th. Carrie Ann Inaba from The Talk has tested positive for coronavirus and is now sequestering at home with some symptoms.
I'm home and I'm following the guidelines.
Her co-hosts are wishing her well.
Obviously, our thoughts are with her. We love her and we're praying for a full recovery.
Also battling COVID-19, talk show host Ellen DeGeneres. The 62-year-old announced she tested positive on Twitter. DeGeneres says she's feeling fine and is now in isolation. Netflix has released the first trailer for the upcoming Ariana Grande concert film, Excuse Me, I Love You. The movie will bring her 2019 Sweetener World Tour to audiences stuck at home amid the pandemic. Excuse Me, I Love You premieres on Netflix December 21st. And Michelle Pfeiffer is a penniless socialite in the upcoming dark comedy French Exit.
Have you heard any rumors regarding my reputation?
I heard that you were odd.
Well, I'm more than odd. L'addition, s'il vous plaît.
Pfeiffer plays a 60-year-old widow who cashes in the last of her possessions to live out her twilight years in Paris with her cat, who may or may not embody the spirit of her dead husband. French Exit debuts in theaters February 12th. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Interesting for sure. Stay with us. Back to wrap up the 5 o'clock hour of Daybreak when we come back. We need to hear from you out in the Ozarks about women that made great contributions. It's part of our annual Remarkable Women series. We're hoping that you'll nominate somebody in your life to potentially be honored here on Color 10 and then also be in the running to be named Nextstar's Woman of the Year. We're looking to recognize women who have made community contributions, self-achievements, or just a big impact on family. Our committee will select 4 local women for consideration. We'll share their stories here in February and March. Then we'll announce a winner. There's only a few weeks left, though, to nominate, so go to ozarksfirst.com under the Living Ozarks tab to do so. You have until December 20th to make that nomination. Stay with us. More Daybreak is back in just 3 minutes.